Coach, you seem to get a lot of pressure on opposing quarterbacks this season, and not so much today. What happened?
They did a good job. You know, you got to give them credit first and foremost. And Jaden's obviously probably the most athletic kid we've faced so far this season, in terms of being able to escape. You know, and try to be conscious of our rush lanes with him. You know, he's different than some of the other guys we played because if he does squirt loose, which he did a couple times, he can hurt you. Give them credit. I thought their line played really well. You know, when you see them in person, they did a really good job of protecting Jaden. And then when things did break down and we did a good job of getting after him, he has the ability to squirt out of there, and he made some plays with his feet.
You also had, I believe, 8 penalties for 89 yards.
Sure.
Quite a few 15-yarders.
Yeah,
You know,
no question. Unacceptable.
What do you have to do
and we got to clear that up. And you know, we talked about it briefly in the locker room after the game, but we have to learn how to play with emotion, not let emotion play with us. And I think some of them are out of frustration, and we just can't do that. You can't do that against a good football team. You know, we gave them too many freebies today, and that's on us.
Thank you.
Can you talk about the decision to go for the touchdown early in the fourth quarter and the play call as well?
Yeah, you know, we had the ball inside the 1 yard line, or close to the 1 yard line, and felt like we could get it in, but they made a play and we did.
What was the play call there?
What's that?
Was
It was a run option.
Okay. They averaged 9 yards per play, and you had 5.2. That seemed like that was pretty much the difference.
Yeah, I mean, I think the X plays on the defensive side of the ball really hurt us. Those 2 big long passes. We had some depth issues at safety today. They did a good job of exploiting that and taking advantage of that. You know, you got to give them credit. They knew what we had in there, and then they went after it.
Kenny and Quentin were hurt?
Yeah, Kenny was out. Kenny was unavailable. You know, he tried to play at the beginning. And Q gave a valiant effort, but he wasn't 100%. So.
Last week, the 2 touchdowns you gave to Stanford were big, long plays. There were a couple in the first half that were big, long plays. What do you do to kind of fix that, those big plays over the top for the
Yeah, it's a combination
teams?
of both. You know, I think you got to be tighter in your coverage, and you got to generate a better pass rush so the quarterback doesn't have enough time, you know, to push the ball down the field like that. But we got to kind of shore up our safety position right now.
And then no points in the second half. How
Yeah,
disappointing
we
is
moved
that?
the ball. It's very disappointing, you know. But I think there's a couple penalties on the offensive side of the ball that really hurt some drives. And then to get the ball down in there tight like we did and to come away with none, you know, we got to do a better job. And obviously we played well, I thought, on offense in the first half. We did not play well on offense in the second half.
What do you think of the way Dorian played, not only passing but rushing? It seemed like he was a really big threat
Yeah,
for you guys.
I think Dorian obviously is a threat with his legs. They were doing a couple of things coverage-wise to try to take some guys away, doubling, trying to get Kyle and Greg and bracket and some of those things. And then I think Dorian did a really good job of recognizing that. If they're doing that, they don't have anybody left for him. But they did a good job of mixing it up. Sometimes they did have a guy spying on Dorian, and then he's got to make sure he goes through his progressions and throws the ball. I thought, you know, for where he was and how he trained all week long, you know, he's just a tough guy that, you know, you got to give him credit. You know, he's not 100%, but he's battling out there, and I thought he played well.
Did you have in the game plan that he would run that much, or was he just kind of reading?
No,
the
I think it was
defense that way?
you know, they weren't design runs. They were drop back passes where, you know, coverage-wise dictated that no one was on the quarterback. So I think he exploited that. But it wasn't a design. They weren't designed quarterback runs.
Do you think Dorian did too much, or is that what is expected of him?
No, I think it depends on how people play you and what they're going to try to do and try to take away from you. And it's good that you have a quarterback that has the ability to beat you with his feet when they're going to try to take away or double some receivers. You know, then you got to see if so the guys who are single can get opened up and get free, or can the quarterback hurt you with his legs. So, you know, there was a few times there that I thought Dorian made some really good decisions and taking off and picking up first downs with his legs.
Beyond the penalties, what happened with the offense? I mean, it felt like you guys were pretty much in complete control of this game midway through the second quarter, and then
It was the same thing. I think when you get those penalties, and I don't think you can say beyond the penalties put you back, you know, and then all of a sudden you're playing in really long down and distances, and it's hard. You know, it's a lot easier to convert 1st and 10 to 2nd and 4 than you go to, you know, 2nd and 24. You know, now we've got a long uphill battle against a good team that it's got some good players on that side of the ball. So I think we made it a lot more difficult on ourselves, and I think that's the difference between the two halves. But some of those, the holdings, the personal foul penalty, things like that, just set us back. You know, and I think we like to play on, when we're on first down and we're moving, we're playing downhill football, but I think we played uphill football in the second half, and that's directly a result of what we did. It wasn't, it wasn't what they did. It was just really what we call SIW, self-inflicted wounds, and we have to clear that up. But, you're not going to compete with really good teams when you're hurting yourselves, you're shooting yourselves in the foot, and we got to clear that up.
1-1 in conference now. How hard is it after a disappointing loss like this to pull everything back together and get ready Monday to go down to Tucson?
Yeah, I mean, we go on 1 week deals. We're just going to get ready and prepare we'll make the corrections from this game on Monday, and then implement the game plan, and get ready to play Arizona, who played Oregon tough the week before. So every week is a battle in this league, and you don't really look at records. You don't talk about it. We talk to our players all the time and pick your head up at the end of the year and see where you are. But we're not talking about conference play. We won't talk about conference record. It's really irrelevant right now in the first week of October. We just have to, we got to get back on track, and we have to prepare to go play Arizona down in Arizona.
You went with Duke at center without Sam. What went in that decision as opposed to going?
Duke
with John
filled in
Jackson?
for Sam before. Duke actually played in Stanford, played center, and did a really nice job against Stanford. So we just continued with that lineup. Felt like John at guard and Duke at center. Was a good setup for us, and again, he played really well at Stanford the week before, so we just capitalized on that.
No, your losses last year came by a combined 15 points. The one against Fresno State was 3. You lose this by 19. Is it a different feeling losing by this much in the locker room after the game, or is a loss a loss?
A loss is a loss. I don't think there's no consolation whether it was close or not. You try to decipher it and learn from it, and that's what our process will be tomorrow when we break down the film as coaches, and then when we start our meetings on Monday.
Okay, thanks, Coach.
Thanks, guys.
Linebacker Jordan Jim Marquis on the left, your right. Quarterback Dorian comes from.
Dorian, can you, that fourth down play early in the fourth quarter was obviously very pivotal. It was, I guess, an option where you could have done either. Can you tell us what you saw in the play and how it kind of developed?
Yeah, so it all starts with the read on the DN. I thought he was pretty close to the box to be able to pull the ball. But again, it's 4th and 1. We got one of the best backs in the country, so just knowing the situation, I think I should have just handed the ball off on that play.
You guys were, I guess, midway through the second quarter, moving the ball pretty well, and then second half unable to add points on the board. Did anything change execution-wise? Did they change their defense? What did you see?
I think there's penalties. We shot ourselves in the foot a couple times. But again, I have to go back and watch the film and all that stuff to give you a clear answer. So.
It's for Dorian. Last year, you guys never lost a game by more than one possession. Same goes for the Fresno State game. Lose this by 19. You're kind of out of it by the end. Does that give you a different feeling at all in the locker room after, or is just a loss a loss?
Yeah, definitely. It sucks. I wouldn't say the point differential means anything. Loss is still a loss, but obviously it sucks. It's definitely a hit on the chin. So.
And then, Jordan, can you just talk about how tough it was to deal with Jaden Daniels taking him down and just kind of planning for him running and scrambling like you did?
Yeah, and absolutely. Every time you play somebody that's a dual threat in the case, you have to plan it differently every single week. There's always that opportunity where he'll take off and run for 20 yards. I mean, I know that every single defense feels the same way when they play us with Dorian. Adds another element to their game. So it's just part of the scheme. Just got to execute better and take on next week.
Jordan, it seems like you guys weren't able to get a lot of pressure on the quarterbacks. Did they do anything different that you saw? What went into that?
I think with how much we pressure, a lot of teams are 7-man protecting, which makes it harder for us to get there. But at the end of the day, we have to win on one-on-ones, and we have to execute our job on all sides or all aspects of the ball, and especially when you gamble in a sense, or you pressure that much. We're just gonna we believe in our guys, and you know the pressure has to get home. That's the whole point of it. So it is what it is.
Jordan, you guys gave up a ton of big plays that really burned you. What kind of went wrong on some of those plays?
I mean, like we just talked about, you know, we have to be responsible on each level of the ball. You know, we have to, when we pressure, when we send 7, when we send 8, we have to get home. You know, we put our DBs in compromised positions, and as you know, I mean, it's hard to cover, especially good receivers like that in the open field. So it kind of, you know, we just got to do our jobs in all facets.
You guys were a little bit short at safety. What kind of how does that kind of stress your job as a linebacker when you have new pieces coming in? You don't have Quentin, you don't have Kenny, and those guys have obviously played a lot for you.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and they're great players. You know, we got to make sure that they come back healthy next week. You know, we saw Q-Lake out there for a little bit, which was good. Kenny tried to thug it out, but you know, if it hurts, it hurts. But you know, we're confident in those guys who played. They prepared their butts off all week, and regardless, by the end of the day, we'll live and die by the guys on our team.
Dorian, obviously the loss hurts, but not scoring any points in the second half. You know, did you guys talk about that in the locker room?
No, we're going to wait till tomorrow, and when we break down the film and all that stuff to hash all that out. So,
Jordan, you guys had a lot of penalties and a handful of 15-yarders, which, you know, put you guys in a tough position. Talk about the discipline with having that many penalties.
Yeah, I mean, every time you go out there and you have these personal fouls and, you know, sportsmanlike conduct and whatnot, it kills momentum, you know, gives them 15 yards, and, you know, especially times where, you know, they're out of field goal range, and then all of a sudden they're in field goal range, and it kind of gives them that momentum. We're an extremely disciplined team, you know, in the heat of the moment. You know, it's hard to say, like, looking back at it, oh, we shouldn't have done this and this. You know, it kind of goes both ways sometimes, and sometimes it's just unfortunate that we get called on or they get called on. So I think that we just got to look back at it and, you know, make sure that we take care of the little details and, you know, just play until the whistle's blown. And I think that we'll learn from this loss, from those mistakes, and I'm confident that we're going to go out next week and, you know, beat Arizona. So
you guys could have gone 2-0 in Pac-12 for the first time since 2013. I know that was a long time ago, and neither one of you were here, but does it feel a little bit like an opportunity lost to do something a little bit special here?
I think every game is an opportunity loss if you lose it. You know, they're all important, and they're all going to be important moving forward. So, again, that's why we take it day by day. We take it week by week, not looking too far ahead and trying to think about Pac-12 play and all that stuff. So we got to take it week by week and focus on Arizona now.